Good morning, everybody. If you are up and you are awake and watching this stream, I want to welcome 60 riders. That's right, you heard me right. 60 riders today. I'm here on the pier, ready to race. These are ladies from the Zwift Academy. We are about 1 minute and 20 seconds from the release of this group on to the course. We are going to be doing the volcano circuit today. I will introduce a little bit about that as we go, but let's jump in and see if we could take a look and see what riders are in the pen. There are some names that we definitely have never seen before, and you know what? Zwift Academy just does that. It brings riders out from all sorts of walks of life to be able to get an experience of both racing and social riding. So we're definitely excited to have these riders in the pen here with us. I'm going to drop down and we're going to get a closer look to see actually how many riders there are here today. You know, the likes of our veterans here, Alice Alexander just moving down, Tina von Frankenheim, moving down, Christine Green here, Jan Coates. We've got people, Senja Pakalo. It is going to be a great race. We're going to top out just under 70 riders, it looks like. One thing to remember, this race is a neutral start race. We are 15 seconds to go. It is going to be 2.0 steady as we roll out. Make sure we've got everyone together with the beacon. 2.0. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Let's roll it out. Keep it clean, ladies. No bumping, no elbows, no headbutts. Let's jump on here with the leader. And there we go. All right. As they roll out on the pier, everybody's trying to get organized here. Looking pretty good so far, though. Let's see if I can jump on with our ride leader here. Riding the good old Buffalo bike, it looks like, with the zip disc even. So we've got our riders trying to group up to the beacon, coming across the start finish line, looking like a huge group. Let me back up a little bit. Should be able to see how large this group is as we back out and get a good view at how many riders there are here today. We're looking at 60 riders. So we'll be getting messages here from the ride leader, making sure that everybody stays with the beacon at 2.0. And at 2.0 is definitely a very conversational pace for all across categories. So we should be able to see a good grouping up here as we go across. But as we get started here, I'm just going to play a little bit of something for those there at home about what Zwift Academy is and exactly what these riders are doing over the course of this 6 weeks here. So we'll switch over to that and we'll be right back for you.
We just lost our ride leader.
Yeah, I'm coming. Sorry.
On the island of Majorca at Canyon SRAM's training camp, Leah Thorvaldsen of Little Rock, Arkansas, was crowned 2016 Zwift Academy champion and the newest member of Canyon SRAM Racing. This year, it could be you.
Oh wow, I could have a shot at a pro contract, but it's for anyone. It's a huge step forward in your own fitness, and so it's not all just about the one person who's going to get a pro contract. It's a win for everyone who's involved.
Zwift Academy is this great program where Zwift is trying to get the women more involved. It's just this huge, to me, a great community. There's women coming up going, I get how this could fit into my life.
What I think is so nice about Zwift Academy, I really think that it was inspiring lots of women to take part in this adventure. Maybe they've gone far beyond their own expectations.
How far I got in Zwift, there were 1,200 females that joined, and there were 100 females that finished Zwift, and I can't believe I was one of them.
Yes, it's hard. Come on, you can do it, you know, just do your best. Because it's not just the physical side, it's the determination and to boost your confidence in anything else you do, not just cycling.
Find out how strong you really are. Find new friends from around the world. Find out if you have what it takes to go pro.
Do not wait, just follow your dreams.
Be the best cyclist you can be. Head over to academy.zwift.com to find out more and sign up today. Last year, Zwift Academy opened its doors, launching a groundbreaking worldwide talent
And we are back, we are back. We're making that turn onto the volcano here. Looking like the group is well put together here. We've lost our beacon just for a moment, but it looks like we were able to get back organized. He's got messages going out, 2.0, 2.0, making sure that these ladies are all behind him, and looks like we're doing a great job. These riders, yeah, so being careful here. There has been one thing to remember. Megan mentions out not seeing their own name in the list, so there has been some changes. If you notice, one of the things is there's a little fun map on the top right here that allows you to see where all the riders are in your race, and it's going to be very interesting to watch that as we go around and round on the course at the volcano here. So we will see. Also, she mentioned that maybe not able to see her name in the lead, and we had seen some announcements of those issues here with the update. So we are just about there. We're going to let this go. So really quick about this course. It's a really interesting course. If you haven't done it before, you may have done it just as a social ride, but this is going to be a whole different show today. What we're looking at is a pretty easy, I wouldn't want to say easy, but I want to say flat. And for the reason of being flat, when you are racing against riders of your own ability, what you'll find is that watts are going to be king for most of this race, meaning that however many watts that you can put down, and being smart is going to play a factor. And in being smart, I'm talking to the fact that making sure that you are using the draft appropriately. A lot of times riders will get caught up in not using the draft, and what happens is that when you get in that pocket, you're actually able to drop down in your wattage to allow yourself to get a micro break, what we call in the business, making sure that things are able to get off that pedal. So we are rolling in. We've got just a couple more turns. We've got the ODivaZ leader leading everyone out. It is getting crowded here in the peloton. I'm going to need to back out to give us a little bit of a better view, but it is looking like a good group out here today. We'll back up just a bit more. We're coming through. We've got a couple more turns here. We'll wave goodbye to the Volcano KOM on there to our left. You see the broken arches as we go across, but we're headed to get some business done. We've got a huge group of 60 riders. Looks like everybody is on board. Not any riders ahead of us here, so that is great. I think that is going to be a great view. So for those watching at home and want to get a little bit more information about what's happening out there and the stats, we're actually watching this also on what's called Zwift Power, and you can find this race, and I'll switch over screens here, and what you could do is you can take a look here and you can see where everyone's at in the race as we go along, and also what category they have been predicted to be in. So definitely pull up Zwift Power there and look for today's race, which is ODivaZ Ladies Race. We'll jump back into the race here. It's looking pretty good. We've just got one or two more turns, but we've got some pretty interesting names here. We've got all categories here. I'm just rolling through my my registration list, and man, we've got all kinds of A, B, C, D riders. Lots of C riders. I'm gonna really try to take some time. I've got my second screen here. Oh, I've got a message that completely has lost the group. So if you have lost the group, or you haven't seen or can't see your name, keep pedaling at that 2.0 or just above on your wattage, and either the internet or the client should bring you back to where you need to be. So just really be careful there and keep that pedal up. It should come back here shortly. The group or the game renders about 100 riders at a time. So jump back up. Jane is saying she's racing to catch back up. Remember, this is neutral, so we've got a little bit of a bump here. It should make everyone slow down. Everyone seems to be surging past our ride leader, but that's okay. But Marge, come on up. We still have our riders ready to group up. We've got another turn or two. You guys should be able to make it here just in time. Let me see if I could roll back a bit and see how far or where everyone's at. Looking pretty good. Remember, you got to get behind the ride leader here. We've just got a couple more turns. Those off the front, remember to off the pedal. As you see the ladies kind of cycle back, you'll see how they're trying to frantically get behind our ride leader. We are just about there. We're just two turns away. Looks like pretty clean. We've just got the riders C Scott, but that's only a second or two. Not really worried about that. I think it's just going to be a little bit further here as we go. So like I was saying, this is a pretty flat course. They've got a couple bumps. We saw one of those as we just moved up earlier. Let me see if I can get out to a fuller view. We are just about there, just about there. All right. And there is the arch. Ladies, get ready on your pedal. Change your gears. Take a breath. Take a drink. Here we go. Nobody in front of the beacon. 0 DQs for that. We are under the beacon. We are 5 laps to go. 5 laps to go. All right. Let's jump on. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to jump on with Alice Alexander here. Boom. Here we go. We are in the front group. The commissioner says go, go, go. I'm on board with Alex Alexander. Also, A. Gannon. That's Alice Gannon, I believe. And Kristen Green is up there. As you notice, there are pink little triangles next to all these riders' names. And what that's telling us is that they are Zwift Academy riders. And this is a qualifying race for you to qualify for credits for Zwift Academy. So it's an exciting time. You can see in the map on the top right there, this thing is strung out. Let me bring that up there. Look at this map up close. You can see the riders just all the way to the Beacon Pass. I will bring this up a couple times, and it's really interesting to see. This map is going to show us kind of where everyone's at in this game. So jumping back into the peloton, I'm on with Alice Alexander. They've got huge watts going on here. You are going to want to make this break. There's looks like just small chase group behind, just a second or two. But this main group is pretty large. I'm looking at 10 to 12 riders, the likes of Z Kala. I'm going to find out Gannon's first name there. We've got Helen Salt there. We've got a lot of veterans here, and they are excited to have this group. But you know what? They have done this course. They know how this course goes, and we are in for a show to see how this goes. Let me see if I can jump over to our second screen and see how the B race is forming up. But man, this group is pretty large. We're looking at 15. This is pretty much the go. From the go, this is a large group to be with. And if you can jump in the draft here, there's 5 riders just off the back there. If they can kind of push through, the likes of Connie from Team Moose, they can still see it. When you can still see those riders ahead of you in that game, you are close enough. That we're looking at 3 seconds for that group that's with Connie from Team Moose. And if they can just line up with Katrina, Lajala, Bachart, and Ukraine, Sofia Ukraine, I think they can get in that little pocket. They are almost there. They are closing that gap. They are not that far behind. The group behind them are about 10 seconds back, but it is another huge group of 15 to 20 riders. This looks like a group of C and D riders and 1 or 2 B riders that maybe just missed that jump. That jump at the beginning of this race can be very, very difficult. So looking at that, we are looking at coming across here, and man, the wattages are pretty high, and I think everyone is just feeling everyone else out. Everyone is at the on the rivet, essentially, because the fact that they don't know who these riders are, and they're looking around to see what kind of legs everybody has. So let's see, we're back here at the front group. I'm on board with Michelle Patton, one of our ride leaders for Team ODivaZ, a great ride leader on Sundays and also on during the weekdays. As we scan towards the front here, let me see if I can grab anyone else. We'll stay on board here and see what we've got. We're headed downhill on this next turn. There's a series of 2 rights and 2 lefts that'll get us down outside of going around the volcano. This downhill is really peculiar. What you can find is you're going to see riders here as we're on the helicopter that some riders dart forward, and you might ask, hey, why does that happen? And a lot of that comes from the weight to power ratio. And you're saying like, hey, what is this power thing? And so if it's your first time watching this race, if it's your first time racing, there's a lot of tactics put into this thing, and a lot of the things that we might not think about when we're doing a social or a group ride really come into play. And one of those is your weight going down and uphill. You notice some of the riders dart off in the front. A lot of times when we're going downhill, if a rider has more weight on their avatar, on their bike as a whole, you'll find that they will be able to carry some of that momentum downhill. So what does that mean for lighter riders? That tells us that they are going to need to put a little bit more wattage going down and to be able to keep up. We're going to make another left, and this is going to put us back towards the caldera. And this is the part that a lot of times we see a lot of fireworks happening, and the reason why is there's a small little uphill. So we will see the group slowly dwindle because we'll see the watts per kilogram as you see some of the front group going to 5.0, letting them know if you want to be part of this elite group, you are going to need to put the watts in, you're going to need to put the work in, and this is the level work that you're going to need. And so back to talking about power, if it's your first time tuning in, that number on the top is the actual force, the energy that these ladies are making as they push down on the pedals and translate that power into the bike to move their avatar. Zwift is one of the only platforms that actually requires movement in this way in order to make the avatars move. We don't actually have to turn our wheels to make left and right turns, but in fact the force needed to put down on the pedals is there and is something that we use to put down the power. Then the second part of this equation is the watts per kilogram. If you notice under each rider's name there's a number. It's in this case, I'm on board with Kristen Green. It's a 3.5 number, and so that 3.5 number is the rider's weight in kilograms, and then divided as a factor of their watts that they're putting out into the pedals. And so lots and lots of things go into this game, and a lot of strategies that you may or may not think about. Again, like I said, while even riders or that just do rides here, we have just passed under the banner. We are 4 laps to go in this group. Looking good. I'm gonna see if I could back off just a bit to see where this chase group is, and then and go from there. Looks like we've got 10 riders in this front group. I'm checking times here, not updating on my Zwift Power, but just from the heads-up display, it looks like the first group, and then about 10 seconds back, we've got Gannon, Bonder, Genbug, Baccarat. And right behind there's not many. So this main group has pretty much put 38 seconds on the larger chase group, and there's a couple trickling off the back here. As you notice, this group will get smaller and smaller as we go around the course. We are 4 laps to go here, and you'll find that at this higher pace, if you are not doing the smart thing and making sure you're jumping into the draft and getting off the pedal and getting the rest that you need, you can find yourself falling off the back very, very quickly. At that point, you're looking to make alliances with any riders that are around you to see if you guys can work together, group up together, and see if you could put a chase in for those categories. So moving forward to seeing what riders are actually in this break, we've got a good mix of both A and B riders here, and what that tells us is that those B riders could be of a very high watt per kilogram, meaning that's the measure that we use to see what category that we're in. Those A category riders being closer to our top level 4.0 watts per kilogram, thinking about that number that we had explained a little bit earlier. And those B riders have done the smart thing and made this group. So strategically, this is very, very smart. These B riders are putting themselves in a good position to duke it out for that top B category. Many a times have we seen the B rider or the B group slowly be able to assimilate themselves to this front group, and it allows them to really push their limits, but have a group that they know that will pull them or drag them along. Secondly, as an A rider, you need to understand that as they go around, B riders have no no allegiance to pulling this group along, because you know what? They're in front of their whole B category group, really. And so really it's a duke out. I'll see if I can round up the B riders here, but it looks right here from this screen, it looks like C. Scott, A. Bullock, and Clark and Freshwater. There's 4 B riders in this group. They're duking out for the podium +1. And so we are moving across, headed back into the caldera. Here's our little bump that we're talking about as we make our final left turn here, right there. So, okay, let's see. So a little bit more about Zwift Academy. Let's see, we could pull up some details here. We are 4 laps to go as they head back into the caldera. So I will switch over first really quickly. Let's see if, yeah, it's updating here now on Zwift Power. I'll go ahead and switch over to that screen. What you can see is you can see the riders that are in the break here. You've got Z Kala here, Gagnon, we've got Farstad, Bullock, we've got Epibom, we've got Green, Clark, Patton, Alex Alexander, and then we've got a group very, very close by of C. Scott, Kristen Catronis, Kristen Catronis, Amy Levang, Sarah Hall-Michael, and Michelle Herzog. 15 round out there as it starts to refresh for us. But a little bit more on Zwift Academy and kind of, you know, what it is and kind of what it's about. So we're looking at September 1st to October 12th is essentially the competition, and the top 10 performers will be advancing to the semifinals. And then we're looking at November 1st to November 22nd, the actual competition, where 3 finalists from there will advance to the finals, competing to move to Spain. And then the final competition in December for the 2017 Zwift Academy winner becoming a new pro cyclist. So check out myzwift.com to check your progress of the Zwift Academy, as well as any information there. But yeah, it's definitely a very, very interesting competition as we find ourselves with this huge group of riders today. We're looking at just now 50, I think it was 62 as we left the pen today, and both new riders and veteran riders alike are in this group. So here's that, getting back to the racing here, let me jump back in. This is the little uphill right before we get into the caldera, we call it, into the volcano, where things can get really hot and spicy quick. As we roll over that into the flat section, you'll see that this group is tightly packed. Make sure that our gaps are clean. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I think we have a rider off the front. That's what I thought. I did see one dot up there. That is the like of Z Kala. Let me bring up our other game map. If you notice that this group with the arrow, and you notice there's one red dot that just made that right turn up there. That's Z Kala from Team ODivaZ. Really strong effort there. We're going through the arch here. We're going to be going 3 laps to go. As they make this turn, they will be able to see Z Kala as they make the turn. She just picked up the Volcano jersey with a huge lap, and as they come around, you'll just be able to see her up there. This group has got to work really hard. As a single effort, it can be very, very difficult to keep up wattages all by yourself. So what we'll find as this group chases, you'll find that the pace or the speed, this number up in the top left here, 50 kilometers per hour, you'll find that it's a number that will stay up high as a rider that is in the pack versus on their own. But we have seen Z Kala put in huge efforts, and we're starting to come around and lap some of those riders from the back here, because we are doing a circle and we are going round and round with 3 laps to go. What we have found, we will pick up those riders as we come around. And so let's see. Yeah, she's got an 18-second gap. This is pretty large here. Pretty sizable gap, but we've got a pretty sizable group. And so what we'll see is if we can get them organized, we can put out some words, some wisdom, some efforts out here to keep this group going. There's a potential to close that gap. She's putting 5.3, but you know what? She is a strong rider. So this group definitely has their work cut out for them. They've got it down to about 15 seconds to go. I'm looking back into the categories here, and I'm on board on my second screen. Let's see with looks like Amy Levang, she's just into the second group. Let me move up just a tad. Yeah, and we've got the likes, yeah, look at this group, Freshwater. That group is really pushing hard still. That group is about 8 seconds from the front. Yeah, it's a group of 4. We've got essentially a solid chase group of 4 riders. Michelle Herzog, Hall-Michael, Haberman. Oh yeah, Haberman's here. And then Freshwater. These 4 riders are just 10 seconds from this front group, and it potentially could all come together. They're working really well together. I've been seeing wattages above 3.5, 4.0 on the front here. So they can close this gap, but it looks like they're working quite well together, this group of 4. Behind them, there looks like another group of 2 of C. Scott, who was in our front group earlier, and S. Deemer, that's actually a lapped rider, and then Amy Levang in a group behind her. So these are riders that have been put out the back of this front group and have put all the effort and are trying to find a group, a home, let's say, as they make their way around the course here. I'm on board with Kristen Green as they are going to make a turn and drop out of the volcano here. This group is still quite large. The paces are still quite high. I'm going to see if I can move over to Zwift Power, if it in fact is updating here, but let's see. Let me hit refresh on that side. Looking good. All right, so that you can see how tightly packed this is. Let me bring the new Zwift game map up. You can't even see the riders separating. We do have that one rider in front, as you notice, that's still about 10 seconds plus, making that turn going up that hill. But you can see everyone is just crowded under this arrow, and that arrow actually designates our ride leader. Sorry, our ride leader, the rider that I'm on, or me, which is Verna here. And so they are going to try to keep themselves as tightly packed as possible as we kind of go in and out of pans. This is again that downhill and then the flat as we go around the outside. The gap between this front group and the chase group, I would say, I would call this chase group and not the breakaways, has gone to about 30 seconds with that group of 4 with Hallmichael, Herzog, Freshwater, and Haberman. They are pretty much duking it out for the A and B categories. If there's any B riders, they will be a 5th place B rider, if I remember on the count here. But otherwise, doing pretty good. We're coming up on our ride leader, ODivaZ. Did a great job this morning rolling out on a neutral rollout. This is a very favorable course or favorable format for a lot of riders because that neutral rollout allows people to get up to speed. It allows riders to group up together, and it's not a slog fest or just like all out power drop at the very beginning of a race. Looks like the gaps come down to 11 seconds to Zikala. This group is working really well together. They've got a couple up hills. Our little mini map is showing that the gap is still there. They could probably see her as the turns come up, and then they're turning up here. You're seeing the watts go up to 5.6, 5.9s by Gagnon there in the front. Huge power ups going here, and if you've ever raced in a mixed or co-ed race, the ladies climb so well. Their watts per kilogram transfers so well to an uphill effort just because of the math here, and they will dart up and you will get dropped if you're not paying attention. So if you notice, this gets strung out as we go up. The gap becomes 27 seconds to the group behind them, working really well back there. Let me see if I could pull up our roster again, get a couple more names. But yeah, it's looking like a good group. They are strung out about 1 or 2 seconds that I'm on board. Maybe I will get to slip away. This is a place. There's a group of 5 riders. They're about a second off the front here. I'm going to see if I can stay home, but everything gets back together. We're about to go back under the arch here. I'm on board with Alice Alexander. We're going to be 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. Boom, there it is. 2 laps to go. You see it there. Kirsten Cotronis here on board. This group is still looking tight, working together. At some point, the allegiances will go out the door, and they will be racing for the final slot. But looks like Bullock, I'll see if I can get the first name for her. A new rider for the Zwift Academy here with us. Haven't seen her here before, but doing an amazing job staying with this front group, making sure that she is in the draft and doing a very smart race. Along with her B rider A. Clark, they're looking at 2 spots. So Bullock and Clark hanging on to this group and doing the smart thing. That's Allison Bullock. Great job, Allison, doing her diligence and staying in this draft. You notice how close and how tight they are because they know that this draft makes a difference because this course is so flat. They want to make sure that they are right where they need to be. And so I'm on board with Kirsten Cotronis. You can see her in the Team ODivaZ kit, matching blue bicycle. Awesome color scheme there. Let's see who else we've got. We're going to jump on with one of these B riders to get a feel for kind of how it is to be in that seat. We're going to be on with A. Clark. Let's see if I can get her first name also. With so many new riders, it's so exciting. But as an announcer, man, our registration lists are just pages and pages long. And late ads, early ads. I mean, last night we had almost 40 people in the pen. But man, it is an exciting race. So it is. It's Allison Clark and Allison Bullock. Easy to remember. We've got 2B riders working right at the rivet, their limit. For those watching at home, that number in the top left, the white number is the wattage that they're putting down, and those black number on the bottom right there, that's their heart rate. So if you've done any workouts, if you've been on the treadmill, if you've been on the elliptical, if you have a heart rate monitor, that is the heart rate that they are at. I'm not going to say what it is just because there's other riders. Everybody is here. And so the way this works for those at home, we actually have all of these riders in race communication. They're able to hear me and on the commentary here, as well as you guys being able to hear me at home. So very exciting so far. I'm gonna see if there's any comments from our social media out here, but what do you guys think? We've got plenty of viewers. I'm gonna see if I could pull that up. Viewers are just peaking over 20 viewers. So we've got lots of people on, a lot of people right on. This map's gonna be awesome for races and group rides. That's right, Katie. This is a course that we've used plenty of times that has fared very well and favorable for a race. It's good for us announcers. We can see everything from one spot, and good for riders because it's a repeating piece that allows all of us to get a feel for where we're going. So right now we are on the outside. We are 2 laps, so we are going to come up on our bell lap. I'm going to check on the rest of our group here and see how they're doing, but so far so good. This front group, it hasn't dwindled down much. The gap is probably pretty large here. Let me check on that on our second screen. Oh, look at that. The gap is down to 5 seconds to the front here to Zikala. They can see her. She's going downhill. Remember, I told you this can be a game changer as we go down. So everyone needs to be careful and be mindful as they go down. But for those looking to make a move, increase in wattage here could get people off the front. So a lot of times people can use that to their advantage. So watching out for that here. We've got 1 lap to go. You got to get a really good feel for how riders are riding. They may close that gap to Zikala. It's 4 seconds to go. They see her glowing Tron wheels and you'd be like, hey, super cool. What is that? So that bicycle is actually very unique in the fact that it is a bike that takes some achievement to get to, and what it is the climbing of Mount Everest multiple times of that distance. And so what you're looking at is in the game, and looks like, oh, really quickly, looks like they've been able to gain back Zikala into the mix. She may be there. I could see her from the helicopter here. Those efforts just really put people out and make people really put their efforts. So at this time, she may be trying to look for a little bit of help. That gap is closing down in this group of 1, 2. We're looking at 9 riders all coming together here. The chase group's doing really well. It's about 80 seconds back, but they are still working a group of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. Yeah, that's looking really good. Looking at those 4 riders working well together, or just taking a look at where they're at. They're just going down on the downhill right now. Yeah. So as we move around the course here, the groups are looking pretty solid. We are going to be on our last lap to go. The riders or the front group can see Zikala as we head into the caldera. The helicopter view cuts out for just a moment there, but because we are going to go on the motorcycles, everything, all on the moving cameras here inside the volcano. But week after week, we lose cameras in that hot lava over there. So the cameramen we have there are definitely getting paid extra union dues to make sure that they get those good views that you're seeing there at home today. But so far so good. We are looking at 1 lap to go here as we go under the banner. They can see Zikala up there in her blue Tron bike, and this group is chasing and keeping this pace high and hot. We've got our 2B riders, Bullock and I believe they're both Allisons, are in this group, and they should be able to keep this group together. And if they stay on board, they're looking at a 1-2 punch. They'll be racing each other and going to the final sprint with them. As far as A riders, we'll see if we can do some predictions here. We have got some veterans here. We've got Team ODivaZ, flying colors here. The team effort has definitely been seen in the past. So looking at that and the result there, they could be working together to make sure that there's an effort and get a rider off their front. But in fact, right now, they do have one rider off the front. Remember, Zikala is a Team ODivaZ rider, so not a whole lot of effort to close this gap by this team if they are wanting to make sure that their team ends up on front. But the gap is starting to come down, is starting to close. So they can see her, and it's getting closer. It's about 3 seconds to go, but you are going to see some fireworks, folks. If this group gets back together, you're going to see an all-for-out slugfest to get to the final bit of this, and we're going to see some sprints of a pretty large bunch sprint as we go. We are 33 minutes into this race. We are past the 20-minute zone, and that is a very critical spot in cycling. And the reason why is because at that point, that's when the body is just trying to respond, and a lot of times people can get through a huge 20-minute effort, but getting to this 30, 35, essentially this race ends up being about 40 minutes long when all is said and done, is just a huge effort to put out at this level of effort. And being smart and using the draft and making sure that you're getting those rest in between is super important. Let's see how that gap's doing. I think I saw Zikala up there. See how far she is. Still 4 seconds ahead, still kind of dangling up here. I'm on board with her now. Heart rate's way up there, still putting out watts. She's trying to figure out how long can she hold them off for. Looking back in her back mirror, we can jump on with her, jump onto the motorcycle view, and what you'll find is you can see the beacon is just over Kristen Green. There must have been a technical for our ODivaZ rider leader, and so it's
Swift app just totally went out.
There you go, and it happens, and that's why we have backup leaders. Really, it takes a city to make this race run, and so we're going to be one lap to go as Zikala comes under the arches here. But you know what? You can see that arch, you can see that beacon back there. She can see it. She can feel it. That flag above Kristen Green saying, "We're coming for you. I've got this group." She's got everyone working for her to push. But I guess we do need to remember she's also a teammate. So we've got Team ODivaZ on the front, and a good amount of riders. We're looking at 9-10 riders chasing after them. So looking at the lineup, we'll jump over to Zwift Power here in just a moment.
Jason, technical note, I will not have finished results.
Gotcha. Copy that. All right. Jumping over to Zwift Power here as we go, as Zikala kind of makes a big push, but they can still see the beacon from there. Jumping over to Zwift Power, we've got Zikala in the top spot here, V. Gagnon, Farsted, Epibom, Green, Catronis, Salt, Patton, and Bullock in this front group. I believe, nope, Hall Michael is in the second group past, if I remember right. That's the group of 4. That's about a minute and some change after. So we should be turning in. We're going down, we'll go up, and then we'll be into our final lap here. Let me jump back into the main group, about 6 seconds behind. Really trying to get everybody motivated and see, and I'm getting people to see if they can put this chase on. They could still see her, but they are not taking it easy. We're looking at 3.5, 4.6 watts by some of those riders off the front to really push this pace and get this group closer to go. But as they get to this final bit, they're going to try to close that gap. If they are unable to, the A riders will be racing for the second slot, and then the B riders will be slugging it out for the 1-2. The two Allisons. It's the Allison and the Allisons will be duking it out to see if who is going to take that top B slot. That means riders behind, as we go back here in just a moment. I'm going to try to stay on this group in the final lap. There are lapped riders, so it's sometimes difficult to see, but I can click through Zwift Power, and so can you at home. So using that there to kind of get an idea of where everybody is at, and jumping back into the race here, we've got that final turn going up, you see orange numbers and you say, what are those orange numbers that Zcala is putting out right now? That's a sprint, or no, I wouldn't even say a sprint. I would say that's a huge effort going up the hill here, trying to make that gap larger and larger. This group is working as hard as they possibly can going into the caldera here, and we should be into our 1 lap to go as we make our final turn. And let's see. Yeah, looking good. So we've got, we are on the front of this group, Kristen Green here, and we've got Epibom and Gagne 12 seconds back from our brake rider, which is 12 seconds there. We're going to be going under the arches here in just a moment. This group is starting to string out, and we may see a little bit of a separation as Kristen Green is making sure she's part of anything that moves forward here. She wants to make sure she keeps good control of the riders, but we are looking at 1 lap to go, 1 lap to go. Here we go. We're going around. So actually, we've got the count wrong. That was the final move there. Excuse me for that. The results are coming in here, and it was a great race right to the finish there. Kristen Green picked up just 1 or 2 seconds behind Gagne from Canada there. We got a little bit of misinformation. I do apologize, but we've got our final lineup here. Zcala did end up keeping that final push. That final push up the hill was a huge effort in that final put out for Zcala. And then we've got Gagne there in third place. We've got Kristen Green from Team ODivaZ. Farstead held out for that 4th spot there on the podium. We've got Epibom in that front group, Bollock, Patton, 2 Pattons here in the thing. That's probably the same. Clark and then Helen Salt rounding out the top 10 here. Sorry about the final count there. I was looking at the numbers and it was 1 as we came up, and I thought it was 1 lap to go. We missed that, and I do apologize. We are jumping back on, seeing if we could find some other riders as we move back into the groups here. But let's see. We got Tina von Frankenheim coming through in her 1 lap to go, it looks like. Let's see if we could find Freshwater. They just came through the line, or coming through. We're on board. This is should be Holmichael, and yes, Holmichael and Freshwater as they come through. They've just got a couple turns to go here. They're still on the rivet here. It just came down to 2 riders here, and it's been spread out. I've got Herzog here, Haberman 2 seconds behind. This is that group before. We're gonna follow this group through, and we will have our final 15 riders, our top 15 riders come through. Looks like they're going to make 1 more turn into the finish here. We'll see if we could jump on board. We are on board with Holmichael 309. We're going to see a sprint here between Freshwater and Holmichael. We'll see if we got it. See if we could get a final push here. Everyone's putting out 6.0 watts for Freshwater. It's going to come down to the line. May have just got it right at the line. Let's see where it comes up. We look at initial results are showing Holmichael coming in, and then Haberman. We don't see Freshwater yet. We'll see how it comes up on the final results here. But definitely a huge effort by this chase group. 4 riders that really put themselves together, stayed organized, worked together, and man, that is what this race is all about. For those riders at home, thanks for joining us today. We had a huge group of 60 riders today. That were able to make it to the start line, and that's a huge number for us here at ODivaZ, as well as this Zwift Academy, and getting all riders, whether it be new riders or riders that have ridden this race before, those veterans that we have here on board. I want to thank everybody for coming. It made it an amazing race, and hope you had a good time, and I hope this format is to your liking. It's something that a lot of riders really enjoy, with a neutral start, as well as the very likable flat course that we have here on the Volcano Circuit. So we hope to see you more on these races. We do have about 3 or 4 weeks left of the Academy. So for those, everybody out there, thank you for joining us, and what a great race. We'll be putting out results here very shortly, and you'll be able to, again, check out Zwift Power, and you'll be able to see what those finals results were and see how you matched up, or if you want to be in this next race. The next racer or the next feature here on the broadcast could be you, as easy as clicking that join event button. So check out the Zwift app, find out the apps, check out to see what is included in the Zwift Academy. and all that information here. So for a great day here on the island on Watopia, just watching everybody come around, I think it's been a great race today. So we're gonna see what we have in store, and everybody join all of the Zwift Academy rides out there and check those out. And don't forget, there is also a men's race as well. Not as race, I wanna say they both have races and a whole program as well. So again, thanks to everybody out there. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the island.